Since my last devlog, I've added a new Fire Mage NPC, changed the scoring system again, added some items and buffs to the world space, and now arrows stick into whatever and whoever. Since I mentioned at the end of my last devlog I wanted to introduce a mage, we should probably start there. And of course I had to give him them thick wizard brows so we can easily identify him. Creating the mage wasn't actually that hard, since I knew from previous web dev projects that you should make a base class for any similar components. So luckily I had a standard enemy base class that I had already set up for the warrior and archer, and this handled player detection, coins, collision and health. All that was left was turning our standard NPC into a firebender. Dealing with it on your own isn't super challenging since you can time your jumps and its health doesn't take too long to deplete, but when you're also dodging arrows or you have to take out a knight before it catches up, really adds to the pressure. I didn't want the fireballs to feel weak either, so even if you are caught with your shield out, you will still take damage, just not as much as if you were caught without. Moving on to arrow piercing. Arrows previously just disappeared if they hit you or flew off the screen if they missed. Now they stick into whatever they hit. Although at first they would turn into spinner fireworks you get on bonfire night, personally I think it looks cool seeing the road paved with arrows like you're running for a battleground. Archvale Devlog 15 is where I got this idea, and I know he isn't the first to think of it, but I figured I should give credit since that's where I got the idea from. The way he does it is by assigning the arrow's target to a variable, so that once it's hit the enemy it will stick inside them for a few seconds until destroying. Mine functions pretty much the same way, except the Unity API allows me to set the player as the arrow's parent object and change its physics to kinematic. Kinematic took me a while to understand too because there's a lot of physics involved, but luckily we have all of that abstracted away from us inside Unity. Essentially all we need to know is it means the arrow no longer registers forces, but will still trigger any collisions. I also spoke about the score in my last devlog, how I changed it from the distance made to however many you can kill, and I guess we're changing it again. I've been trying to understand game feel recently, and from what I've gathered, the player should feel rewarded frequently even if it's in small increments. So it made sense for the enemies to drop gold when they die, rather than just adding 1 to the score. I started by using the code that I'd written previously, used for returning the shield, but suddenly felt like the little boy from ET. Basically, setting the is trigger on the 2D collider true stopped it from pushing me around. The next step was to make the coins look a little bit more interesting. I wanted to draw the coins to look like they have some resemblance to the Anglo-Saxon era, and after a quick Google search I did notice a couple of things, such as they're not perfect circles. This is great because I can't draw perfect circles. And most of them either have a face or a similar cross in the centre. They also have a studded pattern around the edge, however I think this will be too much detail considering how small they're going to be on the screen. After getting the player to pick up the coins on collision, I wanted to add some RNG as to how much gold each NPC dropped. This adds a little bit more anticipation for when we see sweet loot flying our way. To give the coins the nice chained effect when they're floating towards the player, all I had to do was delay each instantiation by 1/10 of a second. In the future I think I'll make the coins stack for every run through that we do, and we can use them to buy skins or upgrades, but for now it's just a measure of the player's score. Random items now appear in the world. I've created a prefab in which I can place around the map where I want those items to have a chance to be spawned. Simply put, it takes a list of the items we want to spawn, rolls for a chance that the item will spawn, and rolls again to see which of those items we're going to pull from the list and put into the game. This includes but won't be limited to gold coins, a health potion and a speed up potion. Rather than setting up separate scripts for each potion, I decided to create one script that will contain an enum of our potion types, making it easily scalable if I want to add more boost or potions in the future. All I had to do then was put a switch statement in the onTrigger code to trigger the action based off the object's potion type. In my last devlog I got a comment from Roman Works Games saying that the kill count made your distant gained a bit redundant, to which I do agree, so now having the incentive to collect coins and not solely just kill enemies will give the player some incentive to keep going, knowing that maybe a health potion or more coins are going to show up. Finally, some small things if you hadn't already noticed. I've zoomed out a little bit and I've made the character's body smaller, but otherwise I still have a lot of ideas and possible directions to take this game in. I won't expand too much on that though, because honestly I see the direction of this game change so quickly I'm barely keeping up with it myself, but the multiplayer is definitely still on the cards. As always, I'm keen to hear any of your ideas in the comment section below.